In 2001, after I have opened the book and had enlightenment as God's word, later that summer, I asked to see a new psychologist to test out my new card. Have you heard of the Bible? Yes, he said. The last book is about me. He laughed and told me a story. He said, he has a friend who also thought he was Jesus, but he is better now. I knew he was already lost, and where he imagined the conversation is going, it's not going. So I shut that door by making it clear that I do not believe I am Jesus. I am Jan Roon. I have my own story that reveals who I am. He became silent and started to listen. After a quick tour through my story, so he had a better idea of how I have arrived to my conclusion, I asked him, what do you think we should do now? He said he didn't want to talk about religion. What do you mean you don't want to talk about religion? He doesn't want to talk about it, he repeated. Can we talk about it psychologically? No, he said, uncomfortable and pressed in his chair. Can we talk about it philosophically? No. Can we talk about it historically? No, he continued to insist, feeling the pressure from the absurd, the contorted situation, having to refuse to talk, like a baby whose candy had been stolen. I reminded him that he is a psychologist and it's his job to listen to his patients, and emphasized, this is a problem I actually have. He still didn't want to talk about it. Eventually, I was so frustrated I get up out of my chair and starts pacing around the office, summoning up what he is saying, ending with a direct question. Are you saying you are at work not to do your job? Yes, he replied. I sat down. I had gotten my answer. When I play the card, how will the state receive it? Since the conversation was not going anywhere, I settled with it for the moment, and we wrapped up the session. A few weeks later I wanted to do a follow-up, to see if he had changed his mind after having had some time to think about it. 9/11s had also happened in the meanwhile, and holy war had been declared, making my name and revelation all the more relevant. First thing he says the second time we meet, that was some intellectual headlock you placed me in last time. He was correct about that, and for people today, the lock is still in place. Not talking about it does not open it. But he had not changed his mind. He still didn't want to talk about it, and there was no reason for me to pursue this angle anymore. What you should notice is that the psychologist in 2001, despite not talking about it, has still come further than society in 2025. He has experienced the headlock while society is 100% unconscious of it. The lock is still there. Not talking about it does not have magical opening powers. And the irony when society treat me as a delusional man instead of the writer is that the authority they rely on for justified is tied up, has no authority or justification, and this is called the social hypnosis. It's how society lies and manipulates to make one thing appear as something it's not, and what it is, not appear. The lock is simple. There are only two paths, with the truth or against the truth. When society cannot go with the truth, because it leads to the writer, they get locked in denial, locked in delusion and self-deceit, projecting what is false onto the writer. And this is how the modern death of Christ works. Systematic and categorical denial. This strategy is not arbitrary, because the held belief in atheist land is that Christ is based on belief. Hence the cure to the perceived disease is to refuse to believe, since it's not based on belief, but the clock. Where truth holds the authority to open and shut, they have made me an intellectual martyr, and the truth has made me the highest saint. What else is new under the sun?